Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. This is Lanai Bain with SEP Backup Software, and I am joined today by Shane Brown, who is our Senior Technical Support Manager, and also by Lothar Wegner, who is with Novell, and he is the OES Product Lead. So today we're going to be going through a couple different portions of the webinar. Lothar is going to start out with a brief introduction for OES and go over some new upcoming things, where they are now, and also we'll get into some of the SEP overview and end with a live demo. So to start out, Lothar is a senior sales engineer located in Ottawa, Canada. He's been with Novell for over 15 years, and his main responsibility now is for OES and file and networking services. So with that, I will turn it over to you, Lothar, and let's go ahead and get started.
Thanks, Lanai. So as was mentioned, I'm going to cover a bit of Open Enterprise Server, just give you an update as to where we are today, as well as what's coming up in the kind of the near term, next year or so. And then I'll hand it back to Lanai and Shane to go through and give you an update on SEP. So if we take a look at Open Enterprise Server today, our current version is Support Pack 1. And with the release of Support Pack 1, we actually incorporated over 50 new features to the product. I'm not going to go through all of these in detail. I just want to draw your attention to a couple of these. One of the things that you see on this slide is the FTP home directory support. We had a lot of feedback since the very first release of OES and the capabilities that the NetWare FTP gateway provided. And we've made numerous attempts at updating. And we think that with this release, or we hope that with this release, that we've met our customers' expectations, and you now have an FTP gateway that is on par with what was in NetWare. Something else that is right next to that that I just want to draw your attention to is the eDirectory updates, and specifically the graphical DS repair. After BrainShare this year, the product manager and some of the engineers and we went and visited a number of customers. And it became very clear that actually nobody had was aware of this unless you sat through maybe one of the presentations previously. And looking into it, this was actually something that was missed in the documentation, but there is now a graphical-based DS repair that is available in eDirectory. So I know that was one of the features that our NetWare customers liked in terms of being able to see a GUI with a UI rather than trying to do everything on the command line. So those kinds of capabilities are now in OES 11 as of Support Pack 1. Some of the other capabilities here, some AFP updates with regards to being able to set a policy at the top of the tree and having it available for all of your users. For those of you who are Mac fans out there, you now have that capability. Something that we get with...
Hey, sorry,
yes?
this is Lanai. I just wanted to jump in real quick. I think we're still on the first slide, so I'm not sure if we're keeping up with you.
I apologize for that.
No problem. I just didn't want to get too far.
Let's see what we can do here. If I do it this way, can you see that?
Still looks like the same first slide.
All right, did that work?
There we go. We are with you now.
Okay. All right. So this was the first slide with regards to some of the features. Again, the FTP and the eDirectory, the DS repair capabilities. The AFP that I was just talking about, as well as new capabilities that we get as part of the underlying SLES 11, SP2, specifically the KVM support, so another virtualization capability, as well as Microsoft Hyper-V being certified on that. In addition to being certified on Hyper-V, we also have certifications for VMware and Citrix on their virtualization platforms as well. Some of the other things with regards to the file system as a result of the SLES 11 SP2 is the new BetterFS file system. So this gives you file level snapshotting capabilities. So if you were to use this on your file system, as you're applying service packs or something like that, you would be able to roll back individual files that were updated and revert those changes if you needed to. And then one of the last things with OES 11, as of about 2 weeks ago, we now have shipped Filer, and that is an entitlement to all of our OES customers. So anybody who is current on OES maintenance, you have access to this new technology called Filer. Filer is a virtual appliance that you can put into your data center and use it to provide not only access to your file system to your mobile devices, so your iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, but also Windows Mac clients as well. It allows you for easy sharing of those files, not only amongst your users, but also external users as well. So using a web interface that is also included, you can give external users access to your file system and time that access so that after a period of time, it actually expires. So it's a very powerful solution that gives you access, modern access in terms of the smartphones and smart devices to your file system that you have sitting securely inside of your data center. There's no need for your users to be uploading files and sharing them via cloud services. You can in fact use your file system, existing file system, to do the same thing. So very quickly, if we look at OES, where we're going next, so we have support packs coming out this year, as well as some other things. I will show you a timeline at the end of this section, just to give you a quick update on what's coming up and when. We're working on making OES easier to deploy. You can do some auto-YAST things today, but not all of the features are easily accessible via auto-YAST, so making that easier to deploy is one of our goals here, so that you can script the entire installation and repeat the installation over and over again to very quickly deploy and roll out new servers. We're making some updates to domain services for Windows. DSFW, domain services for Windows, is a utility or a service inside of OES that allows your eDirectory Linux-based OES server to emulate Active Directory and a Windows server. So we're adding support for NCP connections at the same time as a Windows connection. We're adding Mac support so that your Mac OS X servers can integrate natively into domain services for Windows. NTLM authentication support. Right now we only do Kerberos, so we're updating that to provide some more features and capabilities there. Some updates to the file server in terms of managing and monitoring, better monitoring tools so that you can see the connections being used, better capabilities in terms of managing your DSF junctions, all in one place, DST, dynamic storage technology quotas, as well as some popular managing tools, Nagios and Ganglia, providing snap-ins for that to make it easier to monitor the status of your OES servers. Some updates to the file system itself. Right now we have this limit of 8 terabytes in terms of volume, so we're going beyond that. And basically, at this point, we're not seeing a limit in this, so giving you the ability to create any size volumes that you want. We do have certain customers who actually fill 8 terabytes in a matter of days just because of the amount of data that they capture inside of their environment. So if you're one of those, or if you're just hitting your limits on your volumes, you'll soon have the ability to extend far beyond 8 terabytes. SSDs are coming down in price and becoming more popular storage options. So we're optimizing NSS to support SSD storage, taking advantage of the faster file mediums and caching files there, putting more frequently used files there, and so on. Making the most of that very expensive, although cheaper storage, cheaper by modern standards, but still relatively expensive compared to normal traditional storage, and make the best use of that. Some more technical file server enhancements. One of the things that is actually not listed here is a simple concept of defrag, defragmenting your NSS volumes. In our test, we've shown that we can actually improve your access times and your backup times by over 40%. So that will be a feature as well as some of these other ones coming out in the near future. And lastly, the one that we're probably most excited about is native Active Directory support for NSS. We have a lot of customers who are making directory decisions in terms of standardizing on AD because of various things that they need inside of their environment. But that directory decision should not influence your file system decision. So by putting native Kerberos access into the NSS file system, your OES file system, NSS-based file system can integrate natively into Active Directory using all of the Active Directory users and credentials that you have inside of your environment, and even using some of the Microsoft management tools that you have. Underneath, you'll still get the same reliable, high-performing file system that NSS has, including the ability of the inheritance of trustees and rights on the file system, making that easier to manage than the traditional Windows-based file systems. So if we take a look at the timeline for some of these things, again, we're kind of at the first half of 2013 mark. We've released everything except for the last line there that you see VCC for OES 11. That will be coming out at the end of June. So if anybody on here is a BCC customer and wants to upgrade to OES 11, you will have that ability at the end of June. Coming in the second half of this year, you will see the iPrint appliance. So just like Filer is appliance and breaking out some of those services, we're breaking out iPrint and making that available to our customers as well as not customers, and giving them the ability to only print in a Microsoft environment if necessary, but also do mobile printing. So from your iOS, Android devices, be able to print. Then later on this year, you'll see OES 11 SP2. Again, most of this is focused around just keeping up with SLES 11 SP3, but then you will also see updates around the domain services for Windows, the monitoring, and the DST quotas. The other things that I mentioned will be coming out in 2014, kind of first half time frame. So stay tuned for those updates. And with that, I will hand it off to Lanai and Shane to continue on.
All right, thank you, Lothar. Looks like we did have a question that came in while you were presenting. So it says, will NSS for Active Directory be available to OES owners?
The plan is yes, it will.
Okay.
Again, giving you more value for your file system.
Excellent. That sounds great. Also, to everyone who's joined us today, thank you guys for joining. We will be taking questions throughout. So if anyone has any questions, we can get in a couple questions quickly, and then I'll go ahead and do a quick presentation as well, and then we'll get into a little live demo portion. So feel free on the GoToMeeting console in the upper right-hand corner under questions to submit questions as we go, and we'll try and answer those along the way. Another question was, will we be able to get a copy of the slides? And I believe those should be available. Correct, Lothar?
Yes.
Okay. Great. So let's go ahead and I'll run through a quick presentation here, and then we'll get into a live demo. Okay. Can everyone see my screen okay? Perfect. All right. So my name is Lanai Bain. I'm Vice President of Business Development with SEP Backup Software. Been with the company for about 3.5 years now. We originated as a German-based software company about 20 years ago in EMEA and have a very large presence there. We came to the U.S. about 5.5 years ago, and we're growing our market share very quickly. We've been a long-time technical partner with Novell. We're currently certified on almost all of Novell's products now, and have support going all the way back to, I believe, NetWare 3.5. Just kind of start out with some overall minimum installation requirements. And the reason I touch on this is because our SEP Sesam, the backup product, is very small. Our entire program is 54 megabytes, and so it can be installed in very small infrastructures all the way up to Fortune 100 companies. It's a very powerful solution, but takes up a very small footprint. So just based off the minimum requirements here, you can see that it doesn't take a whole lot to power the software. So what are some of the differences between SEP? Why would someone want to use SEP versus another solution? The main reason, we have several main reasons that we find our customers tell us that was their main reason for switching over. The first is you can have one solution for managing an entire enterprise. A lot of other solutions don't have quite the reach of support that we have for various products. Now access the Linux side of the enterprise as far as backups go, doing restores or helping out, and vice versa. And so it just really brings one solution in, helps the company standardize with training, with support, with everything. So the other is our performance. We have multi-streaming technology, which enables us to back up multiple streams of data to a single media at the same time. So that basically, obviously in layman's terms, it really just increases performance and decreases backup windows. Reliability is the third thing we focus on. And if any of you guys have joined any of our webinars before, you've probably heard this. I say it quite a bit because I think it's pretty interesting. But since our software was originally developed in Germany, the laws are a lot different there. And so if we were to tell another company excuse me, that we would back up their data, we would actually become financially responsible for that data. So we have a lot at stake in terms of making sure that the backup is done right and fully complete every single time. So if you do get a confirmation that says, yes, your backup was completed successfully, you can take it to the bank. You know 100% that it's going to be there every single time. And kind of a third extra bonus is just our cost structure. We come in at about 40% of industry average, so it's very competitive in today's market. Okay, so just a quick overview of products that we support. You can see on the left-hand side, all major hypervisors are supported. And virtual technology. We have bare metal recovery for Linux and for Windows. We also have in full support for all the major databases and groupware technologies, as well as quite a few different operating systems that we support from a client level as well. So going back to the concept of having one solution for the entire enterprise, here's just a quick diagram that we can show that kind of highlights the most common things that you would find in an enterprise and just how everything ties together. On the left-hand side, at number 1, we have the main SEP server. Attached to that is some local disk storage, and it's also attached to a SAN. So we can back up all of the other servers that are connected directly to that SAN. We can back those up as well. We have a virtual environment that's there running virtual machines, so we can, whether that's Citrix, Hyper-V, or VMware, we can communicate directly with their APIs, use agentless technology to back those up. We can go, moving over to the right, we can go through multiple firewalls. We can back up either to or from the cloud. And going down to the bottom, we can manage remote locations as well. So we can put what we call a remote device server at those locations and back those up to locally attached storage or migrate that data across the WAN to the main data center as well, or any combination of those. We find that quite a few people are backing up to remote storage and then sending copies off to the cloud or back to the main data center as well. Back to our second point, the multi-streaming technology. Like I said earlier, we can back up an unlimited number of streams of data. So those can be all for different servers. So we could have a stream running from 500 different servers all at the same time, or we can break those up into smaller tasks. So we could back up databases separately from other portions of, whether it be file systems or virtual machines, snapshot images. We can schedule all those into groups and schedule those separately so that they all have their own data streams, which is going to basically maximize the backup performance, decrease your backup window, and that relates in the real world to a couple examples we have here. So one of our customers, Vodafone, they are the parent company for Verizon in Europe. They currently have SEP running in about 1,500 stores and are scheduled to roll out, I believe, another 4,200 locations over the next year and a half. Guardia Civil, the equivalent of the FBI in Spain, they back up 450 sites remotely around the country, all from one main data center. NARA, the U.S. National Archiving and Record Administration, we took over their enterprise backup system, which was GroupWise, and they went from a full backup of 6.5 days down to 11 hours with SEP, and that was simply due to the multi-streaming. Similarly, Port of San Diego, their backups went from over 100 hours down to just under 4 hours, and they were particularly impressed. They had one Oracle database that went from over 4 hours down to about 42 minutes. A couple more examples, and again, this slide deck will be available. We can send this out to everyone, so I'm just going to keep going. We do offer bare metal recovery for Linux, Windows, and we also have some separate options for Windows workstations, and we have several different options for Linux. So we can restore to similar hardware or dissimilar hardware depending on preferences. Backup for virtual environment, we support Citrix Zen Server, VMware, and Hyper-V, all agentless. We communicate directly with their APIs. One of the cool new features that just came out that we're pretty excited about is the ability to boot from a VMDK backup copy on VMware, and that basically completely eliminates downtime. So we don't have, if we go in and do an image level backup of a VM, if we mount that to an NFS share, for example, we can just boot directly off the copy of that backup, and we don't actually have to wait to restore any data. So it really does pretty much eliminate downtime. Okay, so the main reason we're here today, talking about Novell and capabilities with backing up OES and maximizing your investment in OES. These are just kind of some basic features that we have that we work with Novell with. So all of the communication that we do in Novell environments are through Novell's TSAs. So that means if we install on NetWare, for example, we don't even have to install an agent or a client. All we do is communicate directly with the TSAs. Everything auto-populates. We can see full file tree and everything. We have full support for eDirectory, also NSS volumes, and full cluster support for OES as well. And like I said earlier, we do backup GroupWise as well, full support. And for the older, for GroupWise 2008, we back up using TASFGW, and on GroupWise 2012, we back up using TASF. So some backup requirements, which we'll get into a little bit during the demo portion of this also. We back up through the TSAs, and if we are backing up a NetWare system, then we would need to have what we call a data mover. And so that would be an OES2 or an OES11 that just basically serves as a proxy. For all OES backups, it's just a direct connection. We just back those up as an agent. Or if that's the main backup server, we can just back that up directly as well. Here's just a quick overview of what that could look like in different Novell environments. And again, we'll shoot these slides out to everyone, so if you want to take a look at these a little more in depth, we'll make sure that you get these. We also have LAN-free backup capabilities, so if anyone's running 24/7 operations or doesn't want backup traffic going over your LAN, then we can back up everything directly to SAN as well. And so we've included some of that in the diagram that we'll show here for a OES clustered backup. This basic overview of what LAN-free backup could look like. So backing up Novell cluster services is very important for a lot of our customers, and this is something that our software really excels at. We have full cluster support with node failover, and it's been tested time and time again by some of our customers, and they've been extremely happy with being able to restore things quickly and easily. Here's kind of an overview of just a basic cluster, what it could look like. In the SEP GUI, when we have a cluster that we're handling, this is basically the management console that you'll see, and so you can see the different volumes under the cluster. And here's a little more detailed diagram of the cluster that we just saw. And so you can see at the top right-hand corner, there's just one main SEP data mover. That's the backup server itself, and it's also acting as the data mover. So that means it's going to be installed on +10, +11, OES2, or OES11. And in the next diagram, we will show that the main backup server could be on a Windows machine, and then the machine at the top just to the left of that could be any OES box that we're using as a data mover. So you can have the main platform on Linux or Windows and just configure it slightly different and get the same results. So if anyone has any questions, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to questions for a minute or two, and then we will go ahead and jump into our live demo portion. And basically, we're just going to be talking or going through and kind of showing what we just went through and talked about. So if anyone has any questions, please put those into the questions box, and I'm going to go ahead and switch over and let Shane get set up here for the live demo portion. Okay, looks like there's some questions coming in here. Can sesam back up to virtual tape SAM? The answer is yes, it can. Let's see. Okay, any plans for interaction to Filer? Answer is yes, we do. We do plan on fully supporting Filer. We're currently working with Novell now to get a API in place so that we can have some expanded features. So right now we can back up the, all of the data and the back end of it, but we would like to have some further work with the API so that we can do some more advanced features and some more granular restore that's integrated in. Is the restore of individual groupware mailboxes a function of GroupWise 2012? And the answer to that is yes. We can restore single mailboxes and single emails as well. Can a SEP server running Windows use a dedupe service that is mounted via SIFs? And the answer is yes, we can do that. So we have our own internal deduplication, we have a deduplication appliance, or we can also leverage other deduplication technology as well, whether it be hardware or virtual appliances. I'm going to go ahead and let Shane get started here so that we can get going. Please keep the questions coming, and we'll do a little Q&A after Shane's portion here. There are a couple other questions, and I will get to them after Shane's part. So, Shane, I will go ahead and turn it over to you. Shane, are you there? Okay, Shane, I think we're having a hard time hearing you.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
There we go. There we go. We're good.
Okay. I don't know what was going on there, but I muted and unmuted on the session, and we're off to go. And can everybody see my screen? Are we looking at a network monitor console at the moment?
Yes, we are.
All right. So a couple things. Number one, at the end of this, when we finish everything and go through the last questions, we will be giving away 2 Best Buy gift cards to everybody that's still on. So I will go through this and give everybody a chance to win that. And we're going to actually go through an entire install of the SEP software, a backup from our NetWare server. We're going to do a restore on an OS 11 box and test all the writes. So as you can see, we have a NetWare 658 box running right here, and we've got some files on here. We're going to go ahead and back this up and move it to our OS 11. So let's just verify what's on there. So I'm going to go ahead and log in to our tree, and then let's go ahead and just map a couple drives. So I'm going to map a drive to the NetWare server and the Vault 1. And we'll see that we've got a data and a home directory. We've got a bunch of users in the home directory. We check properties, and we have rights set up specifically to those users. And let's just validate what we have on our data side, property rights, and we've got a group set up that has rights to it. So we need to get this information to our OS 11 box. On our OS 11 box right now, we've already created a drive, so the box is set up, and we've got the volume there, and there's nothing there, just a couple of hidden directories. So we've also got an OES2 box in this environment. We're going to go ahead and just use the OES2 server as our SEP sesam server. So I'm going to go ahead and just install SEP sesam. I've downloaded the software, and there are 2 files that I've downloaded. Those 2 files are the SEP sesam server and the sesam Novell client. So let's do an install. it will go through and decompress all of the files and then create our database for subsystem. Go ahead and validate the hardware that we have on here. So if you have hardware, tape drives, everything, it's best to actually install the drivers, have them completely set up. We don't use specific drivers to the hardware. We actually use the drivers that come with the operating system. So we can see anything that's connected to the server. So it'll go ahead and identify it at this time. It goes ahead and then loads the GUI and sets up the GUI console for us and runs a test backup. So it'll set up a data store, do a test backup, and do a test restore, making sure that it can actually talk to the system, that the backup is working, and then it'll go ahead and start the console for us so we can go ahead and look at everything it did. So we're going to do all of this with one command, and we just kind of wait to validate that it's all there. It does create a data store that it will use at a very small disk that it sets up originally, and then it goes ahead and does the test backup there. So we'll create another one for our backup. We agree to the license, and we are up. We can go ahead and verify did the job work. And we look at the backup and we see it created a new one and it ran the test backup and it's off and running. So it was successful, and we know see the statement that the backup's completed successfully. So the restore completed successfully. We had a good install. So it is up and running. So we need two more things. As Lanai mentioned earlier, we need to go ahead and set up a data mover. Now that's the second file here. That's a Novell. And we're going to install the data mover. Done. So install the server. We've installed the data mover. Let's also go ahead and set up a new disk. Now this is a virtual machine, so I can quickly add a new disk by just going into the virtual settings, add hard disk, create a new disk. SCSI. Let's go ahead and just create all one. I'll leave it at 20 gig. And I'm just going to call this disk 3 backup. So create a new disk. It's going to be our backup disk. 20 gigs is going to be available to us. Say OK. Now we're in Linux. I'm going to have to tell it to rescan, and then I can go into YAST and go ahead and format and mount the volume. So partitioner. Yes, I know what I'm doing. Let's go ahead and go and create a new one right on that last volume. We're only creating one on here. We'll mount it to backup. And we will apply it. So we have another disk created. So we're going to create a data store for this disk in sesam. So first thing we want is an area for that to back up. Component, data stores. To create a new data store, it's command or menu driven. Just go in here and we're going to create data store for backup 1. This is going to be our first backup that we create, backup data store we create, and we're going to use our backup path that we just set up. It'll go ahead and allow us to define capacities and watermarks, so it will notify us if we're getting full, and it'll also use these to help with purging data if we don't want to purge it by date. So we'll go ahead and let it create a new drive group for that data store. And you'll notice it's going to set up the drive number. We'll go ahead and look at the drive number at the moment when we're watching it do the backup. Say yes, and says, oh, do you need a media pool? Yeah, so let's go ahead and create a media pool for this, and we're going to tell it, yes, it's part of this drive group, and we're going to leave it retention date 7. So we're going to automatically let it purge things at 7 days. Next, we will go ahead and come in here and look at our client. So components goes through and defines all of the media based on your storage your drives, your tapes, and the topology is based on location. So that's what components is set up for to start with. The next piece is your tasks. These are by clients, groups, and backup plans. So we're going to create new clients and set those up in our local group. And our new clients are going to be first our NetWare 658 box. And it, of course, is NetWare. And we have to log into the TSA. We aren't going to install an agent, so it's completely agentless, but we have to be able to authenticate to the TSA because there is no agent that locally has administrative rights. So go ahead and give it credentials that it can use, and we will go ahead and let it go and talk to the server. It'll validate that it can talk to the server and ask us if we want to create a backup job. So we can create a backup job right now, and this backup job we can define quickly by just going ahead and selecting the volume we want to back up. Now all of our data is on vol 1. So we're going to back up vol 1 and the entire volume. And again, if we need to authenticate, we can set this up here. We obviously set that up for our server already. So this is optional, but it'll tell you where you have to set up for network access. We've got some other tabs if you want to do pre and post execution for backups and restores. And you can set up anything for cryptography. Obviously, we can encrypt it if we're going to store it and then take it off site. That might be required for some of your policies. It allows us to assign this to a task group or assign it to a schedule directly from this window, or we can do it from our scheduling window, which we'll look at in a moment. Say OK. So we've got this client created, and we need a restore plane. So we'll also set up, 11 is going to be the server we restore this to, and it is Linux, but we're going to go ahead and identify it as a NetWare server because we want to talk to it through the TSA to do the restore. So it'll go and validate that it can communicate to the server and then ask us if we want to create a backup job. In this case, we don't want to create a backup job because we're going to restore it to the server. Now, when we did create a backup job, you'll notice that we were able to see Novell services and we were able to see the disk that was there, but we're not able to see eDirectory at this point. So if we go ahead and just bounce back over here, go to the system console, and we load TSA NDS. Obviously, we get the TSA loaded. Go back over to our backup server and simple out of here. And let's go ahead and start this again. Refresh the services. And now we can see eDirectory. So no agent. We're directly talking to the TSAs. If you load the TSAs, obviously you're able to see the information, and then you can go select those services and back those up. So we can see and do a full backup of the tree, so like that. And you notice it auto-populates all of our information. I didn't have to fill out anything else. I just went ahead and selected one I want to back up, click OK, create that backup task. So I'm going to go ahead and just restart, make sure we're seeing everything in the GUI, and go down to the job state. We had looked at the job state earlier for our backups, and we have a performance window at the bottom. This performance window is actually going to show us our throughput, overall throughput for all jobs running, and we get individual throughputs over on the left for each server that we're backing up. Drive group that we created before was 2, so when we saw that that drive group was number 2, that's the drive group we want to watch when we're doing this backup, and we're going to go back to task by client, our NetWare server, our volume, right-click on it. We're just going to do an immediate start. We're going to let it do a copy. We have full differential incremental option. So we're going to do a copy, so it's not going to mark any archive bits. It's going to put it in the media pool we created. You can see that it's got the other media pools that were automatically created when we installed the software. And it's going to identify the answer. So we're going to just launch it, and the backup has started. Now, it's a pretty quick backup here. So this will actually update every couple seconds. We may miss the actual throughput. Yeah. So it ran. When we look at the successful backup, it will tell us this did run. It ran at 90 meg per hour. Obviously, we only had a little bit of data. We would actually see much higher throughput if this had more data. We could let it run for a little bit. And it has a detailed log of everything that it did during the backup, in case there's any issues or you want to go and see what happened. But it breaks down everything in 6 GUI windows to start with, and then it gives you all your pre-post logs in a text format with all the details. We have the backup done. Let's go ahead and do the restore. So right here, select new restore task, and it's going to come in and tell us, okay, we're going to task it by the task we just did. So it's the volume that we just backed up. And here is that volume. We can do a complete restore of the selected task. So it'll automatically skip the next selection window. Or if we go back and we don't select complete restore, we can go in and drill down and select a specific file or directory we want to back up. Obviously, we're going to do a complete restore. We're getting all the data off of our NetWare server. We're going to restore it onto our OES box. So we're going to change our target node to OES 11, and we're going to identify a new restore target. This restore target is going to look slightly different because this is an OES Linux box. So the OES Linux has the NSS volume mounted in a directory in Linux instead of a direct volume. So we're going to go select that volume and tell it this is where we want to do the restore. Say OK. And we have options of overwrite, don't overwrite, or create a new version. We're going to go ahead and just leave this as do not overwrite. There should be nothing on there. We just looked at it. We saw nothing there. And we're going to just launch it. Immediate restore started. You notice that it creates the restore under the server that it's running from. And if we go down here to our restore task, you know, it's already run. Let's go ahead and verify that that works successfully by taking a look at our map drive and doing a refresh. Our directories are there. That's great that we have directories. Do we actually have the correct rights? Properties, NetWare rights. Restored the directories, restored the rights, restored the files. We can now just change our login script to point to the new volume, and everybody's now migrated over to the new server. And we used an OES 2 box as our data mover. We migrated to a new OES 11 SP1, all from an older NetWare 6.5 server. And it doesn't have to be 6.5. We can back up on any older NetWare box, NetWare 4, and you can restore directly to an OES 11, so you don't have to go through multiple upgrade steps to jump directly to your newest server. Are there any questions or anything that we can look at in more detail?
All right, so we do have a couple questions coming in. Thank you, Shane. And there was some applause from our audience as well. A couple people saying, wow, that's pretty impressive. Somebody else said, I can't believe you can do it that quickly. One other question that came in, and this is from one of our customers currently. It says, currently our backup server is a standalone unit with an attached tape drive outside of the virtual environment, and we mainly back up SANs. Is the best practice to create a virtual machine for our backup server? And the answer to that, it can be done. It's fully supported. We have quite a few customers that do have their main backup server virtual, but really best practice is to leave it physical. If something were to happen to a virtual host, for example, and you lost the entire pool, you would lose your backup server as well. It can be restored easily, but it's generally better to have it on physical hardware. Okay, next question. Would it be as easy in a clustered environment moving from cluster 6.5 to cluster OES 11 SP1? And I will go ahead and let you field that one, Shane.
And the answer is yes. In the cluster environment, what we see are the clustered objects. We aren't looking at each of the servers in it. We would just see the clustered volume object. So we would just back it up and restore it, and it would be there, just like we saw. So just as easy.
Okay. Another question coming in. When can I see how this works with GroupWise? We're more than happy to work with folks on an individual level if you guys would like. Please contact us, get in touch with us. We can schedule additional follow-up. We can help with proof of concepts. We can do individual demos if you guys would like. If we get quite a bit of interest in one particular subject, then we can follow up with webinar next week or in a couple weeks. But please contact us. You can reach us at info@sepusa.com at any point, and we'll get whatever information you need to you. And if you'd like to schedule one-on-one kind of more personal, intimate demo, then we can arrange that as well. So we'd be more than happy to show you how it works with GroupWise. Another question is if we switch over to your product, what would happen with our existing semantic net backups? Basically, I believe all backup software is pretty similar in the fact that there isn't really cross-platform restore capabilities, if you will. So we wouldn't be able to go in and back up, or restore files from an existing solution that you have in place. But what a lot of folks do, and that's the case with any software. I've never really heard of anybody being able to do restores or be compatible with another competitor software. But what we would do is just do a full restore of that data and then back it up again with SEP, and you would have full access to that moving forward. Other times, folks have just left, one very bare bone, minimal virtual machine up and running, just in case they would ever need to do a restore. So those are all just kind of logistics. We can kind of talk through that and give some advice. And we've been pretty effective with working with folks and helping the transition. It's actually pretty easy to do. Somebody else asked if we could discuss the pricing a little bit. So we have a traditional pricing model with a main backup server and clients or agents, and then we also license different components of the network. So databases are licensed, groupware is licensed. There's a lot of things that come with our solution that don't require a license that a lot of our competitors do license. So an example for that, everything you saw today there is included in the main license. There's no separate licensing for eDirectory. There's no separate licensing for NSS volumes or anything like that. Encryption's all included. Even encryption at rest is included. I know that's something that large SAM manufacturers can charge quite a pretty penny for. So those are all things that are just come basic with our product. All right, bunch of other questions coming in. Does it also support compression? Yes, it does. So we have deduplication and compression. Somebody else is saying very impressed. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Next question. Do you or are you thinking of an archiving component to your software? And the answer to that is yes. We actually already have that fully integrated into our solution. So we already have archiving capabilities, full file level archiving capabilities. We use worm technology. So once you basically, it's as simple as going in and creating a data store. an archive data store versus a regular data store, and it locks everything down. It makes it so that it can't be altered or deleted or anything. And so, yeah, and if you have any follow-up questions on that, we'd be more than happy to kind of go over what that solution looks like and some of the capabilities. Couple more feedbacks coming in saying, I'm also very impressed. Thank you very much. Someone else is saying, this is great. We will contact you shortly. Somebody else saying, it looks like this migration could be faster than some of the other migration tools out there. And I would agree. This was pretty quick. I think we started the demo portion not even 20, 25, 30 minutes ago, and we've already got it, you know, done, and we're going through Q&A. So yeah, it is a very quick and easy process. Just kind of to speak to that, one example, Shane and I actually together worked with a customer probably about a year and a half ago, and it was an RFP, and so we flew out and we did a presentation in front of a 9-person panel, and it was very structured and very strict, and they wanted to see a demo and everything, and so we went in and we did a very similar demo to this, and to be honest, it was really hard to read the reaction, and so we didn't really know, and we left, and we're like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. And about a couple weeks later, Shane was doing the installation for that customer, and I had a conversation with the customer later that day, and he said, yeah, he's like, yeah, honestly, when you guys came in and did the presentation, he's like, about 10 minutes into it, we knew we were going to get your product. So they had good poker faces, to say the least. A couple other questions coming in. Can you send the archive backup to an external disk that can be taken off-site? And the answer to that is yes. That's very easy to do. It can be sent to disk or to tape, and it can be removed and taken off-site. We also obviously have remote device server capabilities to migrate data across the WAN as well, but you're more than welcome to use removable media. We use all generic drivers for our media. So any type of media that's recognized by the operating system, we can back up to as a target. You don't have to wait for us to come out with, you know, new drivers for the latest and greatest hardware technology. As soon as it's out, you can plug it in and play, and it works. A couple other questions here. How well does the product scale in a large environment? It scales extremely well. So we have you know, some enterprise accounts who just do a full, you know, transition over and do a full implementation all at once. We have other people, especially some universities, who will do it by department or do kind of staged or tiered installations, I guess you can say, where they'll start out with, you know, sometimes just the main data center and leave the remote locations, or, you know, start with the Linux side or the Windows side, and then add on as, you know, as they go, whether it be, you know, just adding on and buying as they go, or, you know, getting all the licensing up front and then just having it be a matter of, you know, doing the installation in stages. So we've worked with all different kinds of folks who like to do it all different kinds of ways. We're more than happy to accommodate whatever needs are out there. Do you support a large range of tape drives? Yeah, we do. We support basically everything. Like I said, anything that's recognized by the operating system, we can back up to. If you have tape autoloaders in use, would that be a separate component, or would that be included in the main license? So that is something that we license in addition to the main product. That being said, all of our line items are very low cost, so we still come in about 40% under industry average for backup software. So yeah, those are a license component, but it is still a very competitive competitively priced product. Okay. Are there functions, backup, restore, that can be initiated by the client agent? I believe what you're referring to is what we would call a remote device server. And so we would basically have a remote device server at various locations or in the main data center if it had direct or storage attached to it directly. So yes, as far as what servers or what components make the actual commands and what call those commands, those are actually the data movers that we kind of reviewed today, that we went over. So for example, if we were backing up like a legacy NetWare, we would have an OES2 or OES11 data mover. So that data mover would actually be the server that would be calling out that command to back that up, I believe.
Hold on, to go further on that.
Yeah, Dad.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
To go further on that question, if you have an agent installed on the server, all the console is doing is initiating the backup and restore command to the agent on the server. So yes, you can also launch those from any agent anywhere, because that's what the GUI is doing. The server is actually calling it from there. There's just not a GUI on each of the agents, so it's just a command line, but you can launch it from any of them.
Okay. Perfect. Next question, do you have any Canadian public sector customers that you can talk about? Yeah, we do. Public Works of Canada is one of our customers. They have us installed, I believe, at about 40, 45 locations across the country. Royal Canadian Mounted Police use us at some of their locations. Those are the first two that come to mind. I know there's also Canadian Research Division, I believe. Government Research Division uses us as well. So yeah, we have plenty of references. I can put you in touch with people if you have any follow-up questions. Please contact me directly, and I can put you in touch with some folks to speak with. And again, you can reach us at info@sepusa.com, or you can email me directly at lb, which is Lima Bravo, at sepusa.com. So we'll definitely put you in touch with the right folks. Next question, are SAN fiber backups included in the main product? So yeah, we can back up to SAN. That's definitely included in the main product. It depends how you want to configure things as far as licensing goes. So if the main backup server can write directly to a SAN over fiber or iSCSI at any point, that's no problem. The only additional licensing cost or license that would be associated with anything associated with that is if you were doing the LAN-free backups. So if you had multiple servers that were directly connected to the SAN, then we could license those to just back up directly to the SAN and not funnel that data through the main backup server or through another remote device server. They would just back up directly to the SAN, and that is a license feature, yes. But overall, out of the box, no, you can use SEP just to back up directly to a SAN, no problem. Could you briefly explain the eDirectory backup module and what kind of restores can you do? Can you do user restores? And I will go ahead and just answer that quickly. Yeah, you can do user restores. You can do single instant restores. You can restore individual trustee rights. And Shane, do you have anything to expand on?
So obviously trustees are stored on the disk. In eDirectory, you can restore an individual user, an individual group, an individual container. And here, I will even work on this while you're answering the other question. But if you look at the backup, it goes through and goes down. Now, the only thing to keep in mind is if you do restore a user without restoring the group. Obviously, he's not going to be part of the group anymore, so things like that need to be kept in mind. But yes, the answer is yes.
Okay. Another question, do you guys sell via resellers? And we do. We have a pretty good reseller network, and we also sell direct. You can contact us directly, or we can figure out who is a good reseller in your area and put you in touch with those folks as well. So yeah, either way is fine, either directly or through our channel partners. We support both. Another question, do you support ZenWorks and its databases? The answer is yes, we do. The only caveat to that is I believe at this point we don't support Sybase. So if it's on my MySQL, then no problem, and Oracle definitely supported. I don't believe it's supported for Sybase. But for all the other databases that it could be using, the answer is yes. Okay, someone else saying, hey, excellent demo, really enjoyed it. Have to run, but thank you so much, and thank you. Appreciate your time. Any other questions here before we get things wrapped up? I know we've gone a little bit over the time we allotted, and it looks like almost every single person is still with us. So really, thank you guys for hanging in with us, and we hope this was informative. Today we definitely did focus more on the OES Novell side of things. We have support for quite a few things. So we do ongoing webinars for virtual technology, you know, and other supported databases, operating systems, everything. So, you know, please, again, join us for future webinars. And I'll go ahead and put up on the screen here just our contact information. So please feel free to contact us at any point if you have additional questions, if you'd like to set up a one-on-one demo or a little bit more of a proof of concept. We can work with you, answer any questions that you guys have, and help you set up a testing environment. As you saw today, the installation that we did today was start to finish, under 20 minutes, including the installation. So it's very easy for us to help you guys set up a proof of concept in a VM environment and just basically give you something to test. Let you kick the tires, look under the hood.
And Lanai, we have a couple Best Buy gift cards to give away, right?
I'm sorry?
We have a couple Best Buy gift cards to give away for everybody.
We do have a couple Best Buy gift cards to give away. So are we going to do a quick question, and the first person who has the correct answer in the question section, you want to do it that way?
Sure.
Okay, so we will see who was paying attention, and we'll do one question, and then we will also just scroll down and randomly pick someone from the list as well. So let's go ahead, and Shane, you can ask the question. We'll give everyone a minute to pull up the questions panel on the upper right-hand portion of the GoToMeeting console. So if everyone wants to pull that open and get ready to answer the question, the first correct answer will win a gift certificate to Best Buy.
Okay. So question number one is, what do we have to load on the Novell server to be able to back up eDirectory?
Okay, we're going to have to wait a second here. We probably have almost 100 answers, it looks like, that all came in at once. So I got to go back and look through this real quick and see who the first one was. Hold on a second. Okay. I've got everything from TSA to data mover to nothing to TSA to TSANDS to
TSANDS.
yeah, quite a bit. And TSANDS is the right one. That is the winner. And it looks like the first person who had that was Stephen. So Stephen, if you can, and hopefully there's not more than a couple Stevens, but for privacy, I'm just going to say it's Stephen was the winner. And Stephen, if you can go ahead and in the questions panel, if you can send us either an email address or a physical address where you would like that gift card mailed, we will go ahead and mail that to you. So thank you very much. We're going to go ahead through and just randomly select somebody now. So give me 1 second. And I'm basically just going to do a blind selection from our attendee list. So, all right, ready? Here goes nothing. Is Roger. And it looks like we have a couple Rogers on, so it's Roger D. If you would like to go ahead and send us your information, mailing address, then we would be more than happy to go ahead and mail this out to you. So Roger D. and Stephen W. If you guys can send us your contact information, we will get these gift cards out to you. Any other questions before we wrap things up here? Looks like there are a couple more. Will the recording of this seminar be emailed? And the answer is yes. We will send this out to everyone who attended and folks that were not able to make it today, and we will have the recording available for everybody. And we can also send a copy of the slides that were presented today off as well. So I'll make sure that you guys get the Novell slides and the SEP slides. So, all right, looks like I have Steve's information, the winner of our Best Buy giveaway today. So thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. Still waiting for Roger. If you can send in that email, or either email or physical address, then we'll get this out to you. All right, we are going to wrap up, folks. Again, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your time. We know you guys are very busy, so we definitely appreciate you taking time out today. Would also like to thank Lothar and Novell. It's, as always, a pleasure working with you guys. Thank you so much for hosting this webinar with us. And Shane, thanks for the great presentation, and we will talk to everyone later. Again, please feel free to reach out to us at any point with questions or comments, feedback, and please join us for upcoming webinars in the future. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Take care.